Hi, I'm DG Wright, and this is the official channel of the BLS Coin Collectors Club, bringing you news and insight from the fascinating world of numismatics. If you enjoy my content, don't forget to like and subscribe. Hello everybody. Sorry about the delays. The day job is interfering in a lot of my pursuits. But the silver lining is I do have a whole bunch of new florins to show off of almost every monarch from Victoria to Elizabeth II. And as always, if you enjoy my content, don't forget to give me a like and a comment, and don't forget to hit the subscribe button. However, before we delve into florin acquisitions, I'm going to talk about some actual news from the numismatic world. I know, it's a shocker. Usually I'm just showing off my coins, but I wanted to actually mention a few things of wider numismatic interest, and I plan on making this a regular fixture. Firstly, the United States Mint launched a brand new website at the end of October, combining its catalogue with its main site in order to give users an improved experience with easier navigation. Designed by Texas firm PSF Web, the redesign is the first in 10 years, and among other features includes a simpler navigation experience and larger, clearer images of coins and medals. The US Mint website has in prior years had problems keeping up with demand, notably in 2020 when it was overwhelmed by commemorative eagle sales. Also in October, the Royal Mint unveiled its 2025 Sovereign Collection, reviving a historic design to commemorate the 200th anniversary of George IV's 1825 recoinage, which introduced Jean-Baptiste Merlin's Royal Arms reverse for the iconic coin. This design will appear alongside the traditional St. George reverse by Benedetto Pistrucci, which first appeared on the 1817 issue. 2025 also marks the first time a sovereign will be struck in silver, and the last in which it will be minted in rose gold copper alloy, which was first used for the sovereign in 2017. The sovereign was first minted in 1489 during the reign of Henry VII. A recent discovery in northern Bulgaria seems to raise more questions than it answers, as a 10th century ruined building, seemingly destroyed by fire, was found to house 5 gold coins from the reign of the Roman Emperor Justinian I, who reigned some 400 years earlier. The building appears to have been a farmhouse, and how a 10th century farmer came into the possession of 5 400-year-old gold coins is a mystery. Even more mysterious is why they kept them. Just one of the coins would likely have constituted more than a year's wages for a farmer of the time. And now for the more usual bit, a bunch of florins. Starting with this one. Purchased on the 8th of September, this 1901 florin was issued in the last year of Queen Victoria's reign and has a mintage of just over 2.5 million. The obverse shows the veiled head of the Queen, common to all gold and silver coins from 1893 and bronze from 1895, designed by Thomas Brock. The reverse, designed by Edward John Poynter, features the heraldic emblems of England, Scotland and Ireland on shields, while in between them are the floral symbols of each country. Silver coins of the realm were still issued in sterling silver, 92.5% fineness, until 1920, when economic issues forced the debasement of the silver currency. Due to climbing silver prices in 1920, the silver coinage of the UK was debased from sterling fineness to an alloy of only 50% fineness. This 1920 florin, bought on the 27th of October, is one of the first coins struck from the new alloy, although some sixpences and threepences were issued in 1920 with the old sterling silver composition. Mintage figures were largely unaffected. 1920 has a fairly typical mintage for the period of nearly 15.5 million. The obverse by Bertram McKennell shows King George V facing left, while the reverse, a modified LCY on design, shows 4 vertically aligned cruciform shields featuring the heraldic emblems of England, Scotland and Ireland, sceptres diagonal between them. Minted from the same alloy of 50% silver and 50% copper as all other circulating silver from 1920 to 1946, this 1929 florin was bought on the 9th of September and boasts a total mintage figure of over 16 million. The reverse design was by George Kruger Gray and depicts 4 diagonally cruciform shields showing the heraldic emblems of England, Scotland and Ireland, with crowned sceptres between. This 1933 florin I bought on the 22nd of September. It carries the same design as its 1929 counterpart, but had only about half the mintage. 1933, of course, is most famous for the incredibly rare penny of that date. Of these, only 7 are known to exist, one of which is still missing after being stolen in the 1970s. Another sold at auction in 1985 for over £15,000. Also bought on the 22nd of September, this florin is from 1935. No UK florins were minted in 1934, and the mintage in 1935 is even lower than for 1933, a shade over 7.5 million. It carries the same design as the other florins of George V's third coinage. This 1937 florin is the first issue of the reign of George VI, and I bought it on the 4th of September this year. The obverse shows the king's head facing left, designed by Thomas Humphrey Paget. On the reverse, designed by George Kruger Gray, the crown rose of England is flanked by the Scottish thistle and Irish shamrock. Struck in the same 50% silver alloy as all circulating UK silver until 1946, the mintage for 1937 is around 13 million. The George VI silver florins tend to show up in fairly decent condition, as they only circulated for a few years before their replacement by cupro-nickel equivalents after World War II. Tensions rose in Europe in 1938 as Hitler invaded Austria. Meanwhile, at the Tower Hill Mint in London, this florin was struck. I bought this one on the 18th of September this year. It carries the same designs as the other florins of George VI's reign, but comes in with a rather lower mintage figure of just under 8 million. Bought on the 22nd of September, which also happens to be the birth date of Bilbo Baggins, this 1940 florin was struck during the year of the fall of France, the Dunkirk evacuation, and the Battle of Britain. While war raged across Europe, British coin mintages seemed largely unaffected by the horror and privation. The 1940 florin has a mintage of over 18.5 million. The war would continue until the fall of Berlin in May 1945, and the surrender of Japan in August of that year. While World War II continued to rage, the Allies now being joined by the US after the attack on Pearl Harbor, the Royal Mint's operations seem to have been unaffected. This 1942 florin, bought on the 27th of October, completed my George VI florin date run, and is one of almost 40 million produced in this year. I bought this coin on the 21st of September this year. 1946 was the last year the UK issued silver coins for circulation. Due to the rising price of silver and the need to repay large amounts of money lent to the UK by the US during the war, it was no longer economically viable to mint circulating silver coins. Despite this, 1946 saw one of the highest silver florin mintages of somewhat over 22 million. The florin of 1948 has by far the highest mintage figure of any UK florin, at well over 67 million. This one I bought on the 3rd of September. It is the second year of cupro-nickel coins being issued in place of silver ones, and the last year in which the king's titles include the phrase Indiae Imperator, Emperor of India. Due to India's becoming an independent republic in 1947, this title was dropped from coinage afterwards. The 1949 florin features a slightly modified design, the main feature of which is widening of the letters in the legend due to the loss of Indiae Imperator from the king's titles. The mintage drops to just over 28.5 million, down significantly from 1948. This coin may already have been in my collection, as there is no actual record of my having bought it recently. The 1950 florin, on the other hand, I bought on September the 4th. It carries a total mintage of 24 million or so. 1950 was the penultimate date for most coins of George VI. The king died early in 1952, so with the exception of the farthing, halfpenny and brass threepence, no coins in his name were issued for circulation in that year. 3 florins from early in the reign of Elizabeth II, these coins were all made in the mid-1950s. The obverse shows the Queen's head facing right, and was designed by Mary Gillick, while on the reverse, designed by Cecil Thomas and Edgar Fuller, the Rose of England is surrounded by foliage, and the thistles of Scotland, leeks of Wales, and shamrocks of Ireland. The 1955 florin was purchased on the 4th of September, and has a mintage of nearly 26 million. Also bought on the 4th of September is the 1956 florin, with a mintage of nearly 48 million, close to double the previous year. Lastly is the 1957 bought on September the 3rd. Its mintage drops slightly to around 33 million. Another part of my September florin buying spree, this 1959 coin was bought on September the 10th. With a mintage of only 14 million, this year is the second of 3 years of low florin mintage. 1960, with a mintage of even less, completes this odd trilogy. With the exception of 1964, all the years afterwards show mintages of over 25 million. This 1960 florin, bought on October 18th, completes my Elizabeth II date run. I finally got hold of a 1942 specimen later on to complete my George VI run. I bought both of these coins on the 1st of September this year. As the 1960s began, nobody had any inkling that decimalization of the coinage lay just 10 years in the future. The mintage downturn of the previous 3 years reverses in 1961, where we see nearly 38 million florins struck. 1962 continues this trend, with a figure of over 35 million. In 1965, the British government finally committed itself to the decimalisation of the UK's currency. In order to support the massive new coining effort needed, the Royal Mint also decided to build a new facility at Llantrisant in Wales, as the old Tower Hill Mint had essentially reached capacity and didn't have the space or the modernity for future needs. For now it ploughed gamely on, producing some 48 million florins in 1965. This one I bought on the 10th of September this year. Another 10th of September purchase, this 1967 florin is one of the last pre-decimal coins minted. While some pre-decimal coins, most notably the penny, would continue being minted right up through 1970, all bearing the date 1967, the florin would be superseded the very next year by the decimal 10 pence, one of the first coins produced at the Llantrisant Mint. Its mintage runs to slightly less than 40 million, making the last year of the florin a high note. The cupro nickel and occasional silver florin would continue to circulate after full decimalisation in 1971 as a 10 pence coin, until its demonetisation in June 1993 following the previous year's introduction of the new smaller 10 pence. The Coin Club focused much of its activities in 1992 around collecting florins. Finally, before we leave you, our website has a new feature, monthly polls. The poll for the month of November asks what you'd like to see more of, both on the site and here on the YouTube channel. So please do check us out on the web at www.theblscoincollectorsclub.com or www.theimperium.net. Next time, from my collection, I'm hoping to talk about copper farthings, while I'll also have some more news from the numismatic world and the start of the history of the revived Coin Club of 1992. I hope you're enjoying my videos. If you are, please let me know in the comments and give me a like, and feel free to hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you next time.